Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here, and today we're going to be talking about the elephant in the room. Specifically, that thing. BattleTech Gothic, and the news has been spreading like wildfire, and I figured, why not? Let's just go ahead and dive right in. To what the internet says is abomination or the best thing in the world. I went down the rabbit hole last night and was checking Reddit out, and man, there's some opinions out there. So, well, welcome to my video where I'm going to give you my opinion. Actually, what I'm going to do here is a little bit different. This news was presented to me yesterday while I was live streaming, and I had my initial impression, and I recoiled. Upon further thought, I said, I'm going to do justice. I'm going to look at everything and I'm going to just look at it as face value. And instead of giving my opinion about it, let me just sort of look at it through the perspective as just what it is. Okay. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And then I'll sprinkle in, of course, my opinion. So first off, the first thing you're going to notice is BattleTech Gothic is a completely different setting, and it starts with a BattleTech continuum game. Now, there's an actual video that sort of showcases and talks a little bit about this. It is a little bit lower resolution. And for those that are wondering, this was just sort of basically dropped at Adepticon, which I was asking my stream about because I didn't really know anything about it. It's basically a tabletop convention, which is fantastic. So you have everything there from 40K to BattleTech to everything in between and all of the above. That all being said, let's go ahead and watch this video, and it might give you a little bit more insight, and then we'll talk about the aesthetics here because it is quite drastically different than what we're used to.
For 40 years, BattleTech has presented a single canon setting, a straight arrow of time, from our world to 1,000 years in the future. Ever expanding and evolving, but always a singular continuity. The BattleTech Continuum embraces a new, splintered vision of alternate settings, and BattleTech Gothic is the first themed box of this series. The core of the rules remain BattleTech, but include some exciting new additions to reflect the aesthetics of this setting. While the art and story hold a remnant of the universe you recognize, BattleTech Gothic has been reforged into a virulent dark realm of biological monstrosities and great realms clashing with ever more violent mech armies. For the miniatures, we've gone above and beyond, taking the details to new heights, while including faction-specific heads, back tabards, and bas reliefs, so each player can customize the atlas to their chosen empire. The BattleTech Gothic box includes everything you need to dive into this primal universe. We hope you enjoy this lead to an alternate setting. There'll be more such themed box sets in the future, exploring other possibilities. Join us as we enter the BattleTech Continuum.
Okay, so the first thing is this thing has actually been in the works for quite some time, and we have some basically evidence or proof of there that we're going to go ahead and look at here. Obviously, this is mainly an alternate universe. This is going to be following the same rule set of BattleTech. So if you play BattleTech, this just sort of slides right in. They're not creating a completely different rule set or updates like some other tabletop franchises out there that really upset people, and then you have to basically go out and buy completely new armies. No. If you own the cardboard cutouts for BattleTech, it'll work with this. If you own the cardboard cutouts with some recent new minis, it'll work with it. If you have the original minis that are pewter, it'll work with this. You don't have to buy anything new or different. That being said, I would like to point out, I actually really think that the ability to swap out the parts here is actually really cool. Now, I have been told they've been sort of doing this with current minis and some of the minis on the side here. So granted, aesthetically, I think this one looks sort of silly, but again, that's just my perspective. But the cool thing here is, and I think this is sort of highlighting for me, is this allows Catalyst Game Labs to make faction-specific mechs, what I've actually always sort of wanted from, I would say, Mech Warrior game, if you will. I play Mech Warrior online all the time, and one of the things about it is like all the mechs look the same. Yeah, you can have different camo patterns, but what if the Atlas would look slightly different for the Draconis Combined than it did for the, Lyran Commonwealth and so forth? And that's basically what they're doing here. So I actually sort of really dig that. Now, as far as the elephant in the room, like I said, is the aesthetic. They're going grim dark. Is this a coincidence that it's going sort of Warhammer 40k vibes? No, it's not. And this is where I objectively have to look at this and say, we've had a lot going on in the tabletop world, especially with Warhammer 40k and BattleTech in the last, I would say, year plus, and that is a lot of people leaving 40k and coming to BattleTech. Is this Catalyst Game Labs capitalizing on this? Yes, 100% sure it is. There's the aesthetics alone. That being said, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And of course, it could be a welcoming message. BattleTech is its own thing. And all it's really doing is changing the story and background in an alternate universe. And now that I've had a little bit of time, I'm fine with that. If you like it, you like it. And guess what? If you don't, but you like the minis here, you can use the minis for your own playthroughs. And I think that's actually really cool. And speaking of, we're going to go ahead and dive into the next thing, and that is the setting here. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Now, these images are just what my internet sleuth Katra has found. I think there are even more out there, so shout out to Katra. Thank you for that, Brandon. Let's go ahead and read this, sort of dive in here. And again, this is my initial, I've never read this, so I have no idea what this is even going to say. I'm just giving you the facts of what this is, and let's go ahead and just dive in. The human sphere of 3015. The human sphere of 31st century is, in many, many ways, a shadow of its former self. In the golden age of the Star League, it was once a vibrant expanse of more than 3,000 inhabited star systems within a radius of more than 500 light years, in all directions from humanity's homeworld of Terra, Earth. But the fall of the Star League and the centuries-long endless war has seen whole regions of civilizations fall into darkness and chaos. The 6 great realms now wage war for dominance over what remains, their empires shrinking and crumbling in the process. That's BattleTech, actually. I mean, really, that's no different. So the setting is basically the same. Let's continue. Realm of Blood and Steel, Ironclad Alliance. That's different. Born from a collection of mercantile states, the Ironclad Alliance is an industrial powerhouse rivaled only by the Violet Crux and the Terror Noir. Centuries of political corruption between corporate interest and the aristocracy has weakened the realm's military prowess, especially during the time of the Star League. But the endless war forced the dynasties and the Steiner, Marsden, Kelswa, and Bradford to clamp down on such excesses in the name of survival. Ruler Grand Archon Lise Bradford Steiner. Okay, so right off the bat, they're actually, again, it's just an alternate universe. Still has Steiner, it still has the things that you're used to. They're just different. Okay. I'm going to go and skip down. Realm of Endless Dynasty, Collective of Violet Crux. Since its founding, the Collective of the Violet Crux has evolved from decentralized confederation of independent states into a true union. Under the reign of the Endless Dynasty led by House Salage, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Salage, the realm has focused its interstellar parliament and the worlds it represents to forge an economic and industrial powerhouse with military to match. As pioneers of grafting, the collective fields some of the most fearsome abominations ever seen. I don't know what abominations are, but we're going to find out. Terre Noire, Unistar Ascendancy, often promoted as the last lingering fragment of the Star League, the Unistar Ascendancy is in truth merely another of League's successor states, albeit one with no noble dynasties to speak of. Raised from the ashes of the ruined Terran hegemony by powerful industrialists, the Ascendancy started out as a mega corporate state, but as the endless war dragged on, its leadership became overrun by the dark technocratic neo-religion of Terra Noire. And again, what's cool here is you can sort of see Lyran's Free Worlds League. I'm assuming this is neo-religion would be Comstar. Then you have the Realm of Celestial Throne, the Golden Unity. This would be the Chameleon Confederation. Ever since its founding, the Golden Unity has struggled merely to exist. The Unity was always the smallest of 5 outer realms, its growth hampered as much by its weak economics as by the constant press of the neighboring kingdoms of Avalon and the Violet Crux Collective. Desperation has led its rulers to embrace grafting on levels few other worlds dare. An abomination, corruption is now said to run all the way up to the celestial throne. Again, reference to abominations, don't really know what that is just yet. But again, it's talking about the Chameleon Confederation is always just sort of struggled. They're just fighting for their, existence, if you will. At least that's what it says. Realm of the Blood Dragon, forged by the brutal strength of indomitable will of the Karita dynasty, the Draconic Imperium is a realm dedicated to conquest to this day. Embracing a state-imposed culture based on the ideals of Terra's ancient feudal Japan, most warriors under the Imperium are thoroughly indoctrinated in the tenets of Bushido and value honor and duty to the blood dragon before all else. However, Imperium honor is a courtesy not often extended to the dragon's foes. And then Realm of Blazing Light, Shining Kingdoms of Avalon. The amalgamation realms of the Davion, Hasik, and Aller dynasties dominate the hierarchy of interwoven states known as the Shining Kingdoms. United in mutual defense against the combined might of the Draconic Imperium, Golden Unity, and Terra Noir, the kingdom sees its fight for survival as a holy crusade to protect the light of human civilization from savage barbarians and techno zealots. Okay, so there you have it. That's the inner sphere, if you will, in this alternate universe. My initial thoughts are, it's cool. I really don't know what abominations are. I've feeling that we're about to. Seems BattleTech-y just in general, just different names, obviously. So I think that's fine. The human sphere of 3015, it follows the Star League. And for those reference, Star League, again, the golden era, terraforming worlds, the human was going out into space and all that. We'll get into that, I'm sure, later. So abominations, great and small. Okay, so here we go. Monstrosities known as abominations are creatures or people specifically modified for combat or other extreme labors. Interesting. Seen almost universally as monstrous products of mad bioscience and cybernetics. Abominations possess an undeniable strength and resiliency. Okay, that's very interesting because yesterday when this news was brought to me, this was one of my things. I was like, what if they went with the more of like alternate universe where science and technology sort of meld? And lo and behold, that's basically what they're talking about here. Grafting. At the core of the abominations are the modified xenogenetic infusions, commonly referred to as grafting. A twisted masterpiece of bioscience, grafting employs a series of adaptive omnimorphic parasites, AOPs, infuse traits, features from multiple life forms into a single organism, regardless of biological incompatibilities. Instead of science tailor editing the genes of a single creature in a lab to create a viable hybrid, the AOPs used in grafting shortcut the process thanks to the ability to absorb and replicate neighboring biostructures while retaining their own distinctiveness as they grow. The result work is kind of a cellular cement. The faculties that facilitates a near seamless surgical bonding of biological features from one life form, even if such forms come from radically different species or ecosystems. An otherwise land-dwelling mammalian host creature can thus be granted reptilian scales or living tree bark for an extra tough hide, while also receiving gills or amphibian respiratory system for extended underwater operations. If the host creature is hardy enough to survive the process and its grafting is successfully applied, another round of AOP infusions commonly stabilizes the resulting hybrid down to its genetic level. To reinforce such creatures for hard labor or combat, mechanical prosthetics, myomorph implants, and other cybernetics may then be required, and the beasts are trained to use their customized equipment. In this way, some of these monstrosities can attain a sufficient size and mass to potentially match battle mechs under normal gravity. As the final product of this bioscience is an inherently unnatural and frequently horrific monstrosity, beasts that have undergone grafting are commonly called abominations. There we go. Although most abominations created over the past 6.5 centuries have focused on non-human hosts, humans have undergone grafting from time to time. In some cases, this is for medical emergencies, such as when repairing extensive organ damage in an absence of viable human donors, but in other cases, abominable humans, some hailing from societies more blank. Now, this document, I believe, comes from an already established like TRO as far as a primer, if you will, and I believe that is what this image is in front of you. This sort of tells you all the little details about the universe, the setting, the houses, the plot, everything about it. So let me go ahead and, now that we've read that, give my sort of thoughts on that. I actually think that's a really cool, backstory. Again, now that I know a little bit more, now that I've disconnected my BattleTech nerdage of that's not BattleTech to, okay, this is an alternate universe. I can see where they're sort of going with here. It blends still science. It's not voodoo, mysticism, magic stuff. They're basically talking about, bio and mechanical and sort of mashing that together. And again, we sort of have real life stuff of science and technology merging. I mean, even myelin muscle fiber, again, is a form of bio and then mechanical. And I think that's actually really cool. Obviously, there's some throwbacks, again, with it being a sort of Warhammer-esque type of grim, dark setting. I dig it. Obviously, this sort of reminds me of a lot of Warhammer 40K. And you know what? Grim dark is a genre, and I think that's cool. Obviously, now we know these are abominations. This is a mech, an abomination's flying with looks like weapons infused in their bodies. So again, I think that's actually really, really interesting and different than our current setting. Okay, so this is another image I saw last night, which I thought was actually really cool, and it's Comstar. It's a king crab, and it's a different looking setting, different looking mech, and it's one thing that I actually do sort of like. I like the fact of, and this is why, again, I sort of stated this earlier on, which is we've never really seen mechs that maybe are common throughout the inner sphere have aesthetically different, okay, hey, they use a different mold or they use a different sort of, for their particular faction. So aesthetically though, I actually really dig this. I think it's a cool sort of a look. Makes you wonder, again, with them talking about abominations being able to operate underwater. What does that mean? And you can sort of imagine, are Comstar so anti abominations that their whole mission is to wipe that clean? And you can imagine when there's entire states maybe that have them. Anyways, interesting. Don't know. This is on Reddit, so let me know what you guys think as well. Here's another image that was spotted. Again, sort of the idea of like you almost got dinosaurs looking, these creatures that are created for war. It sort of gives me vibes of like, childhood when you're watching, Beast Wars and, dinosaurs with like what, I don't know. It's crazy. What do you guys think? Again, this is my first thoughts. Now, this image is unique. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this topic. Scrolling through Reddit last night, some of you guys had very strong opinions that this is racist. That out of all of the successor states, that this guy that happens to sit on the golden throne is very Chinese looking. And, of course, they're snakes and blah, blah, blah. Man, people will look for anything everywhere. At the end of the day, you can read into it for as long as you want, but I have no problem with it. This guy isn't necessarily a good guy. Sure, okay. Golden Throne, the compelling confederation, or in this case, if we go back to the Golden Unity. This guy's the Chancellor Maximilian Liao. No, I think this is pretty straightforward. This is what people think. Obviously, jokes aside, no one likes no one likes Capellans. Capellans are the butt of every joke, every war crime joke, every thing that you can think of. Orphan Capellans and buildings being wiped out. Him being a snake, him being obviously an abomination. He himself has gone down the road for survival and stuff like that. I think it's cool. It'd be interesting to sort of see other states, how do they feel about abominations, especially when it comes to humans. I don't think anywhere states here, at least that I know of, it has not stated that other groups like hate abominations as far as human hybrids or whatever. I don't know if that's a fact. And there's actually more images to go over that share that there's other hybrids as well. So if that's the case, I don't think it's necessarily just the unity, if you will, here, or this particular faction. But, you know, I'll also state this because I feel like this gets brought up a lot on my streams, which is one thing I love about BattleTech, and it looks like it's even in this setting, which I think is what makes BattleTech so unique, is that BattleTech is based on history. BattleTech is based on human history. There are atrocities that happen in our past that are also present in BattleTech. There are tropes. There are things that we may not like in real life. Guess what? They're in BattleTech as well. And because it makes that setting. So whether you like it or not, to me, that the thing I've always enjoyed about BattleTech is that it is us. And, you know, that's what makes it so unique, from the political intrigue to the espionage to the corporate, military industrial complex of Earth, now scaled to 3,000 plus planets, and everybody vying, the poor, the downtrodden, but then also you have love and you have romance, you have everything in BattleTech. And I have no problem with this. And if you do, that's fine. That's like your opinion, man. But for me, this doesn't bother me as much as it does some people on Reddit, and that's fine. You are entitled to your opinion. That's cool. But as far as what makes BattleTech to me so intriguing is that it does pull at what I feel like we are, which is, you know, this amalgamation of emotions and just, it's the craziness that is our history and our current ongoings of what happens in BattleTech universe. So it looks like it's an alternate universe with a lot of the same, history. And I don't have a problem with that. So take that as you will. And, all right. Here's another image we have of some abominations. So this is what's interesting here is, again, you can sort of see a backdrop. This does look like Liao, some type of lizard, some type of insect, some type of cat. Actually, it looks like it's got a visor. Death Squad, maybe, I don't know, his guards. I think it's sort of cool. Now that, again, I've had time on target to sort of visualize, I think it's sort of cool. Is this a race? Is this abomination? Is it just humans? I don't know. And let me know what you guys think here. And of course, for all of you guys out there, Urbies for days. Even the Urbies are, different. And, I'm sure this is a peaceful Urbie. I'm sure they're not looking at them like do something stupid. I don't know. Of course, we got a different setting here, grim dark. You can see all these, looks like soldiers, possibly prisoners of war being escorted by armed, captors and a battle mech. Also to note, the scale of the battle mechs is a lot bigger. Let's continue here. Here we have an image of the minis. And again, this sort of goes back to, this is not something that just happened, guys. It takes a lot of time and effort. Callus Game Labs has been working on this for a long time. If you don't like this setting and you don't want to play an alternate universe, the cool thing here is these are basically like, what we have in MechWar Online, the Corsair. We have Franken mechs, or specifically very unique looking faction that you can pick up if you like. If you like the aesthetic here, you can then buy these and use them in your regular tabletop campaigns. So again, my initial reaction was like, oh, I got to recoil, pull back. Oh, not my BattleTech. Now that I put thought and time into it and sort of like sat back, I think this is really dope. I have actually sort of wondered why. I'm going to ask Catalyst. Maybe if Catalyst is listening, watching to this video, hopefully you are, Randall. I actually need to reach out to him about this. Is I think a lot of people want customized battle mechs that are different. So, for instance, imagine being able to go to their website and say, "Hey, I want an Atlas like this," and then there's a bunch of different things that you can order and put together. I'm surprised they haven't done that. It's 2025. There are services. There are other printing services that do that for other tabletop stuff. And I've just sort of wondered with this too. Imagine being able to go and you want a Timberwolf, but you want this configuration that you should be able to order. I wonder why they haven't done that. Albeit sidetracked here. I think the minis are going to be just as high quality as what we see the new ones. Yeah, so I'm sure we'll see more here. Okay, so Realm of the Endless Dynasty. This is the Violet Crux. Very different. Yeah, you know that the movie 300, that dude's wearing the silly hat at the end. I feel like that's what it reminds me of. Like the dude who's all like deformed and he betrays, them, and he's sort of wearing that. Anyways, I don't know why, but that's what it reminds me of. And again, we've got some other Draconis Combined. Actually, again, look at the differences here. I think it's really cool. Yes, it's mainly just aesthetic. It's a headpiece and adornment on the back. I think that's dope. I think a lot of people would enjoy this. Again, this is an image, looks to be from a rifleman or a Jaeger. It looks like, I think it's a rifleman from that earlier image that we saw. If we go back to, where is it? Right there. This is a rifleman. So that image is of a dude standing on a rifleman at the top. Again, different sort of grim, dark setting. I think the artwork is fantastic here. Okay, so this is a BattleTech line developer was responding. Even if this is a one-off, this is a one-off. The continuum line, if we proceed, will be a series of one-off reimagining BattleTech in a series of different genres and aesthetics. 2 versions in early development are rockets and ray guns in anime, not final title. We've all been waiting for the Ill Clan source books, new force manuals, new faction packs, and we get this instead. He says, "I understand how you feel, but as noted above, this is not the case. You would get nothing instead. Others who do find this interesting and wish to purchase this would get it instead, and the team worked on it would have been doing nothing at the time instead. That's all lose-lose." Now, I'm going to go ahead and respond to this. I understand this sentiment. Like, hey, there's other stuff that we haven't got. I don't really understand how they would be doing nothing per se, other than the fact of, are those said items already done and they're just waiting on production lines or something like that. That I can definitely understand from the line developer basically saying is, look, the work's already been done on those. We're sort of sitting on our thumbs here. As far as new products and something like this happening, again, I recoiled yesterday when I heard this news. Why would I want this? Why aren't you putting time and effort into the universe we already love? This is an opportunity for BattleTech to, let's just say, welcome Warhammer 40K fans, or branch out to different audiences that may not know about BattleTech. Is that right or wrong? I guess history will find out. We will see if this Gothic is successful. I think we as fans need to be more open instead of closed-minded. And I say that if you would have listened and watched my response yesterday, I was not that. I was very closed-minded yesterday. And no, I haven't been contacted by Catalyst Game Labs. No, I'm not paid to say any of this. This is just my personal things. I like to look at things objectively. What is this doing to the IP? This IP is so special to me and so many of you guys out there that I think you recoil when something, the Dark Age, we all know about it. Literally the Dark Age, for those that are aware, that was a time where there was a developer that ripped everything that we knew about BattleTech away and replaced it with something that was so alien and different. I feel like this is sort of the same premise. They're not getting rid of BattleTech. And the cool thing is, because of how they're doing it, it's just you can still use the minis. They're not recreating the rules. You don't have to buy all new armies or structures or blah, blah, blah. But if you want to play in this ultimate, universe, you can. And it does sort of give me vibes of like Shadowrun for whatever reason, different races, abominations, grafting, stuff like that. It's funny also, grafting, that Harebrained Schemes, for those that don't know, that made BattleTech the game on the PC, is working on a game that's called Graft. I just realized that at the same time as I'm recording this. And then they're coming out with, I don't know. Is there a tie-in? I have no idea. That's just a totally tangent here. But here's the thing. I think this is Gothic right now is a test bed. It's a test platform. If this does well, then they'll do these other things. And I think if you're sitting there listening to this and you made it this far, be open. This isn't about you. What they're basically saying is like, hey, this doesn't take away from X, Y, or Z. I don't know if I agree with that statement because I've heard that before in business. Sometimes it does take away from X, Y, or Z. But in this case, if this gets people interested who may not have ever known about it into BattleTech, that's a win-win for us. Just like how a lot of you, including myself, recoiled back in the days of Mech Assault. That's not Mech Warrior. Actually, it's more BattleTech than any Mech Warrior game. It's just as valid. And it got so many people into the IP that would have never done so. Yes, of course, Microsoft boxed it with the Xbox. That's fine. That's regardless. It was a good game. So, possibly more different variations. And this is what potentially, these were sketches that I think and this is the ray guns. To me, this actually looks really cool. This looks like a personalized Timberwolf. This looks like a personalized Battlemaster. I know some of you guys want me to hate this, but I'm really not hating this. I'm just not. I've talked about this with, I'll give a shout out to Ferret. Me and him have talked about like, what would a Timberwolf look like, but in a different setting or place or time. And I feel like that's what we have in front of us here. And I think that's aesthetically, it's pretty dope. That all being said, I totally understand that if you saw that first image, you would want to just pull away and be like, that's not BattleTech. I guess what I'm saying, and I'm saying this to myself, is I just need to be open-minded. If it does well, it's not replacing what I love. If anything, it's just adding to it. Yes, someone may get introduced to BattleTech and it be the alternate universe. And maybe you have to explain like, oh, well, I just played BattleTech, classic. But hey, I know about the alternate universes. That's fine too. But if you play the classic, you can just throw in the minis. You can just play with them as specialized hero units or whatever. But as far as, is this a detractor from the overall product and IP? No, I think the IP is in a spot that, and maybe Catalyst realizes, I haven't asked them, the IP needs something new. This is the problem with what happened with the Dark Age. If we go back in time, you read the novels and everything was happening, it was just a bunch of repetition. Okay, the Smoke Jaguars get wiped out. You stick it to the clans at the homeworlds. You say, not enough. You come back. What do? You fall back into endless war among the faction states again. Oh, Comstar, Word of Blake. Like, you just rinse and repeat all that. Obviously, now that they've done new stuff. But I do feel like the BattleTech universe, and specifically tabletop, it isn't a bad thing to branch out to some of the other genres. And all that being said, BattleTech is the number 2 underneath, Warhammer 40K. There was a list that was produced not too long ago that showed that. And that's awesome that we want more BattleTech. And if this means more BattleTech, now, caveat here, if this is successful and they just stop what we love, then yeah, it's a problem. And yeah, I think like they would have to own up to that. But Randall Bills is one of the biggest BattleTech nerds out there. Shout out to him. I've had multiple podcasts with him. I've met him in real life at MechCons, which, by the way, a new MechCon would be dope. just for, BattleTech. We really imagine us having a BattleTech convention. I still think that would be fantastic. But I think I have a few more images. So let me go ahead and take a look here. Okay, and now we have a few other images here to take a look at. This is the Marauder. There's also a image floating around of a painted Marauder. Details were that it's been worked on for a while now. So you've got obviously a very grim, dark setting. You've got people on the ground. It looks like normal sized human beings, maybe, or bigger. That dude's a normal size. So these are bigger. These are like proto mech size. Abominations flying. Actually really dig this setting. You got a dude down here as well. Again, aesthetically very different from what we're used to. Let's go to the next image here. We have Abomination killed with a scorpion battle mech with turrets up on the wall. Actually, I really dig that. That's actually really cool. And the last image here is looks like a mech, fire starter in the background, and Irby over here. I do wonder, is it going to be one of those things where politically, intrigue of pitting, there may be factions out there that just their goal is to end all abominations. They look at it as just just not right. Wow, you can see he's holding on to his arm. He ripped his arm off. Intestines everywhere. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I guess just me personally, it's one of those things where I needed time. I needed time to think about it. I needed time to see if I was the problem. I was the, am I the problem? Am I on an island, if you will? And also, why am I such a BattleTech fan? And does this take away from it? And I would say, no, it doesn't. I don't think it takes away from BattleTech at all. If anything, it may open the roads to more people being introduced to BattleTech, which is a win-win. If this means that Catalyst Game Labs makes more money and they're more successful, I think for BattleTech, that's a win-win. I know that's crazy to say in today's environment that, a company making more money is good, but it is. It's one of those things where the IP is in a weird state. And I think a lot of people don't really realize that, especially when it comes to like a Mech Warrior title, is that, why don't we have more, or why don't we have a different type of why don't we have a bunch of different developers for Mech Warrior titles or whatever. BattleTech is Mech Warrior for those that don't know, and Mech Warrior is BattleTech. It's just naming. And I think it has to do with the market. The market will dictate whether or not, and what I mean by that is, look at the success. We have MechWar Online. We have BattleTech, Mech 5 Mercs, Mech 5 Clans. We're about to get a DLC for that as well. All the DLCs for Mercs. We're not going to get another BattleTech. HBS, Jordan Wiseman sold his company, moved on. Paradox ran that HBS into the ground. HBS is now independent again and working on a new game. There's nobody else stepping in line. And I say that all being is that the IP is in a weird spot, I think, right now as far as like gaming, and is in a golden state for tabletop. I think we've seen more like the ability to just, we have so many amazing artists out there. We have, books happening. We have new minis happening. The updated aesthetics to BattleTech has been absolutely fantastic. Starting, clans and mercenaries and all the updates. The original line art has a special place. The original pewters have a special place in all of our hearts. But God, they were just so bad. And so it's been amazing seeing so many, updates to something that we love. And, again, you have to pay people to do that. And so, I guess I'll go and wrap this up. And I'll ask you guys a question. What are your thoughts? Can you remove yourself from the equation? Are you recoiling because it's something you love just as much as I do? I've been a BattleTech fan since I was 12. My first experience with BattleTech was a novel. Is this something that you would buy? Would you buy the minis just because you think they're cool looking? Is this something that you feel like Catalyst shouldn't do and that it's bad for BattleTech? And if so, why? How? Maybe I missed something. For me, another big thing I'll toss out here is that we're talking about it. It's got us up in a frenzy here. You got people who are like, this is the best thing ever. This is the worst thing ever. And then you got that one guy on Reddit who's like, it's racist, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, this has sparked up conversation. Let's go. And that's not a bad thing, in my opinion. Except for that one guy. Anyways, yeah, that's going to be it for me. Will I buy this? Would I buy this? I don't know. Would I read into it? Would I want to get into the setting? Maybe, just maybe. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's different. I think it'd be interesting to sort of see what they do with it. What if this opens a door? Hear me out, world. What if this opened the door to a game? A mech warrior, game because of this. That's setting up the universe. I'm just saying it's pretty cool. Now that I've had time, and I'm not going to tell you if you should feel that way. But I guess I ask is, if you don't feel that way, why? And really put thought into it. And I may be wrong. We'll find out. History will tell us. We'll see if this sells well. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you liked this video, you found it informational, click the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Are you behind this? Did this video maybe make you pause and think? Was this video completely useless and I'm an idiot moron and I should shut up and, world, shut up, nerd. Stop making me think. And, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, I enjoy conversations like this. I enjoy reading the comments. And I also like to pick my own brain. Why do I feel the way I do? Why did I react the way I did? And you could have seen that reaction. I do stream Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. I also stream on YouTube for those that don't want ads and stuff like that. But yeah, we're live, across the world, the internet. Make it a part of your schedule. Pop on in. Let me know how you guys feel. And if you guys enjoy this type of content, again, consider becoming a member and supporting the channel. That's going to be it for me. Thank you again for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And I will cover if we get more details about BattleTech Gothic. Until next time, peace. Just letting everybody know, there's new designs on the store. The Thug and the Star Slayer. Also, mouse pads. Not test mats, mouse pads. But we have those too. Go get one. NoGutsNoCalcs.net. I'll have a link in the description below.